Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sphons CCW Live Show, obviously brought to you by Sphons CCW. What do we got on the show here for you tonight? Situational awareness, as usual. We got some gunfire in Canton again. A couple bills coming through the Senate. Looks like somebody tried to smuggle some ammo to New Mexico. We got some new ammo manufacturers. We need that here in the States. You can't have any.
Yeah, exactly.
What do we got? You got a class schedule going?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, good.
Okay. What do we got? 1017. Concealed carry. 11-1. Concealed carry. 11-15. Concealed carry. Filling up fast. Like we're adding classes as they fill. We're adding. So
again,
keep checking back on the website, the Facebook page, wherever you need to get into a class. We have some more advanced classes coming up. 10-3 Enforced Pistol Instructor. That one is almost full. There's only a couple slots left in it. And people have started expressing interest in that one also. So if you're wanting to get in on that, then you need to get to the website and get your spot secured. 1010 is Pistol Fundamentals. That class calls for 250 rounds of ammo. We probably won't shoot that much during fundamentals because of the ammo shortage, but we're going to work on just as much stuff. You're going to get same goals as you always would. We're just going to do a little more dry fire, a little more technique. 10-24-25. 24th is Basic Rifle and Carbine. 3 spots left.
Well, I didn't know.
We got 3 or 4 left in Basic Rifle and Carbine. And then if you're going to do 24th and 25th, that's Rifle Instructor. So we got 3 in it. So we got 6 total slots that you can get in on that. But it's filling up quick too. So if you're looking to use your carbine effectively or your rifle, and it doesn't matter whether it's self-defense or hunting or just fun plinking competition, doesn't matter. This is the starting of it. I think in the spring we're going to be doing some more advanced stuff in the rifle arena. So keep an eye out for that too. So yeah, 10 defensive pistol is going to be probably March, late March.
Yeah, late March. I'm thinking late March, early April.
Too cold to be 14, 15, 16 hours on the range for something like that. So that, we can do a little bit of stuff on the indoor range, but we just can't really move and get 180 degrees of movement on that one. So be looking, if you're wanting to get into something like that, it'll give you a little time for ammo. Get set up for that. So keep an eye on the website, on the Facebook page, wherever you need to go. Stuff fills up quick, so I always like to put this class schedule out so you guys have an idea or can get an idea of what's coming up and get in on it.
There's a lot of stuff coming up, and if you want a spot, you got to get it now, because if you wait, you're not going to get one.
Yeah, exactly. So get it while it's there. Yeah.
Range tip. We've been harping forever on move. If you're in a defensive situation, you need to move. First and foremost, you need to move. And so the other key to that is having your handgun, when you're moving, in your line of sight at all times, so it never leaves your line of sight. And you can do that, just jam your shoulder up tight and keep it there, and then you can still look side to side without moving your head and keep that gun and firearm in your line of vision. So if you have to respond to another threat or the same threat, then you can just go straight out rather than pick it up off your hip again, you know. And while you're moving to cover, while you're practicing on the range, it always should be in your line of sight. And if you're pointing down range, your gun should always be in your line of sight so you know exactly where it is and where that muzzle is. And that leads us to the carry tip. Never assume the threat's over until law enforcement or first responders respond and assure you that the threat is over. You know, you can't just, have to use your gun and assume that if somebody fell down that you hit them, right, or they're down for good. So never assume that the threat is over. Make sure you're moving to cover. Make sure that gun is in your line of sight so that you know exactly where that is in case grandma walks in front of you, and so you can do something different.
The other thing is, you're not going to want to have the police arrive with, gun in hand. You may not be the first caller. So we're not saying that if there's nothing active that you can't at a safe point reholster and then dial 911, deal with injuries, things like that. But you still you can't just sit down on the ground and melt. You know what I mean?
You can't do that because the threat might not be over, and there may be more than one threat. So
hopefully backup for them isn't arriving.
Yes,
we have seen that from time to time, every now and again. So, in any event, we got some stuff about kids, tonight. I think there's it ties into a couple different things. The video that we're going to see, and the folks that in the video that we're looking at are mindful of their kids. You got to keep an eye out for them. But the reason we pulled this one up is because a news article in the area, not in this particular area, but in the States, and then seeing this video kind of pop up on my feed. I thought, let's take a look at this. And as you come to our training classes, we're always on everybody about challenging targets and making noise and making a scene, and how getting that ingrained in yourself, it reduces your time to action. And if anybody likes to go read some really boring stuff about OODA loops and things like that, forced normalization brain functions, it's really boring stuff. But the idea, and we talk about this kind of stuff constantly, is if something so out of the ordinary is going to happen, it takes your brain time to process that information and to realize what's happening and then react to it. So if you don't have a pre-planned response, it takes a lot longer to deal with that kind of stuff. And the video we're going to see is somebody who has thought, or maybe some training or something like that, has got a pre-planned response, saw the threat, reacted to it as quickly and as best as he could. And then other people who were completely
kind of oblivious to it,
blown away by what was happening in front of them, and had no response whatsoever. So we're gonna get to that.
That plays right into situational awareness too.
Situational awareness. And I gotta see if I can find this here. Right here is our video. Sorry, looking through the stuff on my page here. Let me see if I can bring this down a little bit so you guys can see the entire thing. And I don't know, I've never heard of this carry trainer dude before. I don't know where he got the video, but essentially we're looking at a dude on a cell phone having food, a pair of ladies with a little one having food, and then some, looks like a fella or lady over here, I can't see their face, and a lady here maybe drinking coffee or whatever. And we're going to run through this once and then kind of back it up and slow it down, because there's a lot going on in here. And we were talking about this before the show, and our responses probably would have been a little different than here, but we're not going to tell you what those were. So we're seeing this. Everybody's just there. It looks like they're having lunch. Nice sunny day. There's another fella over here, and then all of a sudden this dude comes barreling over the fence, and he grabs this kid. And that dude who was sitting over here is trying to get him off in there, and they're fighting for this child. And the guy goes down. Somebody scoops the kid up, is obviously distraught, probably injured, probably hurt. Yeah. 3 adults fighting over a child. And mom comes back to whack him with a glass. And then this guy, bystander, where he came from, I have no idea. But a lot going on in there. So we want to kind of break this down a little bit. And this is what we're talking about with the OODA loops and the brain function force normalization. When something so drastic happens, your brain has got to process that information. This guy here, this guy down here in black, he's obviously thought about this, or he's had some type of training. He's pre-planned response is already programmed in his head. These two, while probably terrific, I don't know who's mom and if it's sisters or cousins or who is, right? Their response was to do what they could. But if you look at the amount of time it takes for them to understand what's going on, and I'm going to try and hit this paused in the right spot. So the guy comes over the fence, and you can see that I'm pointing to a screen you guys can't see. You can see that the guy that was here, he is already up and moving. He saw the guy coming, okay? And I'm going to try and back this up a little bit. Woman in white goes over the table, okay? But look at a woman in black. She looks this way. What's going on?
Yeah.
What I really want to point out is, obviously, this is happening in front of them. They understand very quickly that somebody has after their child. I want you to look at the people in the back.
Yeah, nothing.
No response. Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. Not into the fray. Maybe they weren't capable. I don't know. But no cell phone action. They're staring at this in disbelief is what's happening.
That's about it, too. Nothing at all. So.
As the fight continues, more people come in, right?
And they just get up and leave.
They literally get up and get out of the way.
Yeah.
No pre-planned response. People are fighting over this child on a balcony of a restaurant. And nothing, there's no switch in there that says, oh, 911, what's your emergency? There's people fighting over a child on the balcony of a restaurant. A guy just come barreling over the fence trying to get this kid. We don't know if this kid who this kid belongs to. This could be something where that was a father and this was a kidnapped child. We don't know.
Yeah.
But that's not our job to figure that out. It's our job to get first responders there as quickly as possible so that they can figure it out. And there's no response. There's literally a fist fight happening in the middle of this and no response from them. Like, what? Would you look at this?
Yeah.
As the fight continues, and this is where we always are talking about how certain people take certain lengths of time to understand what's going on. Looks like this person starts going for a cell phone maybe kinda,
Or picking up the coffee.
or something.
Something.
But
Right.
here's the thing: there's a fight going on. You have no idea how far this fight is going to escalate. Maybe somebody's going to pull out knives or guns or baseball bats or something like that. You're not going to want to be 2.5 feet away from the fight happening in progress.
No.
Right? First thing, create time and distance. Well, this guy that's on the ground, he can't create any time and distance because that kid would have been out, right? But if you are back up here, then you need to be moving to a point of cover and figuring out, is this guy going to be able to handle it? If not, then did you want to get into the foray with it? I understand looking at these two individuals, they're probably not going to want to be wrestling around on the ground.
No.
But they need to understand that too. They're not capable of wrestling around on the ground with a grown adult man. They don't need to be 2 feet from the fight either. They can be injured just as easily as anybody else.
Yeah. That's like two sheep being in the middle of lion's pride.
Yeah, it's just a bad idea.
You know.
As we go on, looks like a road worker or somebody that crossing guard comes over and kind of figures out what's going on, and looks like that the red-haired woman was mom. She's obviously upset as dude number one. Get out of here. As dude number one continues to wrestle around on the ground with this guy. So, this kind of stuff happens, and you got to have some kind of pre-programmed response to this. It's not, and I'm not saying you got to figure out how to prevent a kidnapping of all things, but these are kind of odd, really. Well, unfortunately, we're talking about it because it's getting un-odd.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to have some kind of pre-program. You have to have, challenge the target. There's no sound on this video, so we couldn't. I would imagine there's plenty of screaming or yelling or whatever, right? But the other thing is, we always talk about going hands, feet, and fists only if you're capable. Well, the fella in black decided he was capable. Thankfully, he did. And but as you can see, this is only a 50-second video. But the guy that come over the fence is essentially at this point in the game, he's lost this fight. He's wrapped up.
Mm-hmm.
He's being choked, but he still hasn't given up.
No.
So
no, he hasn't given up.
I mean,
and that tells you how quickly something like that can happen. Less than a minute.
Yeah.
And if that guy hadn't been there, he went right around the table and right back out.
Yeah, I don't know if those two ladies were physically capable enough to keep that child in their possession.
No.
Maybe with both of them, but not only were they, in a disadvantaged position, right? Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that we have to understand. The criminals are going to attack you from a position in which you're at a disadvantage.
Right.
Because one was leaned over the table, the other one had her back turned, so she was in a chair stuck by the table. I mean, he had literally, this was an opportunity for him to attack that family in a disadvantaged position, and he had thought about this kind of stuff previously. So,
and everybody asked me what, sitting in a restaurant with my back against the wall.
Well, yeah, I mean, but fella in the black there,
yeah,
he was sitting in a restaurant with his back against the wall, and he's seen her coming, buddy. Thankfully he was there, and he did what needed to be done. Because there's times when all of this cover and concealment, time and distance, everything, it just goes out the window immediately, and you got to turn around and
10 seconds later, you're in a fight.
Yeah, you got to get it done, no matter what.
Yep.
Just like the video title says, do what needs doing. Absolutely, there's times where you have to do that. So just be aware that this kind of stuff does happen. And the next news article that we got is, and the reason why we picked this video is broad day kidnapping attempt, and they're going to blister us with ads.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Attempt leaves the North County parents looking over their shoulders. So if we go down through here, parents who fought off a would-be kidnapper in a Costco parking lot over the weekend say the encounter has them uneasy and looking over their shoulders at all times. So these parents, another yet situation where parents had to fight off a would-be kidnapper so that they could retain their child.
Right.
Saturday afternoon in the parking lot of Costco in Vista, and this is in California, the couple was confronted by a stranger. The stranger, identified by the San Diego County Sheriff's Department as Adam Glavnik, pulled open the couple's rear car door while they were backing out of a parking space and tried to snatch a 2-year-old, Peter, from a child seat. I can tell you probably what would have happened in the state of Ohio if you'd done that. You'd probably got it perforated several times.
Yeah.
Hopefully mom was carrying, or grandma, and perforated you, and then drove down to the local PD and let them know where the body was laying.
Yep.
I don't know what his intentions were to do with my son, but it wasn't a good thing. There was nothing good he was going to do to my son, the boy's mother, Jennifer Lawson, said. Well, obviously, this whack job just tried to get in your car and get your kid out of it while you were trying to back out. Again, pre-planned response by the criminal to attacking from the blind side when you were at a disadvantage trying to back out of a parking space, probably had cover, concealment, at least from other cars approaching the vehicle as you're backing out. So they do this stuff on purpose. It is by design.
Yeah.
Kopchak and Lawson were forced to defend her child and themselves until an off-duty sheriff's deputy showed up to help. I think I hit him once and he hit the ground. Then I just got on top of him, Kopchak said. Glavnik, 37, was arrested, booked into Vista Detention Center, and charged with serious crimes, including attempted kidnapping, being under the influence of a controlled substance. 24 hours later, Glavnik, who lives in North County, was out on bail, for Pete's sake. Now the victims and their neighbors are on high alert. I'm not going to let this happen to kids, and I'm damn sure not going to let it happen to anyone else, Kopchak said. Little Peter and his 9-month-old brother, who was also in the backseat, weren't hurt physically, but the emotional impact of Glavnik's brazen snatching attempt will stick with their parents for a while. Probably stick with them forever. I mean,
yeah.
Can you just imagine?
Yep.
I mean, it says this guy, I hit him once and he went, I don't know if I'd have been able
to move somewhere where they can get perforating tools.
Well, this might be a wise idea. I was up all night last night from 12 to 5 o'clock going up to check on him every 30 minutes, Lawson said. I can't get this guy's face out of my head. The scare sent a shockwave through North County community, and parents and neighbors banded together to warn each other on the Nextdoor and other social media sites. I'm so glad people are sharing this and talking about it and letting people know this stuff is not a joke, Kopchak said. Parents said they were caught off guard by Glavnik in broad daylight. And that's the thing. They were caught off guard. And we cannot blame these parents for going about their daily lives in a normal fashion. It's just the simple fact that these people are getting more brazen, and what is normal to us.
They were in jail for 24 hours and they let them out.
Yeah.
You think he's going to show up for court?
Yeah, and on top of that, they let the guy back out. But I guess the point I'm getting to is that the criminals are getting more brazen with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So our normal lives are probably going to be affected one way or another, more than likely negatively. So just we do this for learning. Make sure that this doesn't happen to you. You know what I mean? This child trafficking thing is kind of on the forefront of a lot of different things that are out there, and it's real, it's true, and it's horrible. So just head on a swivel. 2 reports of this kind of stuff in a week, and
and it's doesn't make national news.
Not really. I mean,
not at all.
So What do we got? Local stuff. 2 men shot multiple times in Northwest Canton neighborhood during a drive-by. Police are asking anyone with information to call authorities. This was the 23rd. Victims aged 20 and 46 were shot at 12:05 a.m. Wednesday in the 700 block of Newton Avenue. According to news released from Police Chief Jack Angelo, officers arrived to find both men had suffered several gunshot wounds. A nearby house and parked vehicle were also damaged by gunshots. Police believe were fired from a moving, light-colored minivan. Victims were taken to the area hospital. Their conditions were not available. Angelo asked anyone with information about the incident, call his department's Detective Bureau, 330-489-3144. Anonymous tips may be submitted through tip 411, available at cantonohio.gov/police. So this kind of crap continues to happen in our area, and I guarantee you that, contrary to Moms Demand Action's press releases, these were probably felons with stolen firearms that they
Almost certainly
acquired illegally and aren't supposed to have to begin with. So back to the see something, say something. I think I got 2. Nope. Once again in Northwest Canton, 3 women shot. This is from the 25th. Women sitting on a porch in the middle of the night were shot, and police are looking for whoever pulled the trigger. They called the Northwest Canton neighborhood at 2:10 a.m. Friday in response to shots that had been fired. Lieutenant Dennis Guerin, police spokesman, they arrived to find a woman had been shot in a house of 1600 block of Shorb. Victims include 2 Northwest Canton residents, aged 24, 26, and a 27-year-old Northeast Canton resident. They were taken to area hospitals, Guerin said, adding that their conditions were not available Friday morning. Garrett asked anyone with information to call the Detective Bureau, 330-489-3144, or tip 411, cantonohio.gov/police.
They're like gangbangers.
This has been going on for a few months. It seems like there's a couple of gangs that are tearing the crap out of the northwest of this city, and nobody seems to have any information, or nobody's willing to bring information forward that says, hey, these are the numbnuts doing this. Let's go get them. So continue to suffer.
And everybody's saying, well, you got to stop the violence, stop the killing.
Somebody knows something.
Something
on these 2. And I would bet if in 6 months from now, and maybe they figure out what's going on with them, somehow they're either related, or the people that are doing the shooting, like they either are the same people or they know each other. So it's part of the same group.
Yep.
I mean, ridiculous. Some good news. House Senate passed an NRA-backed bill banning closure of gun stores even in a pandemic. Now, this just went through the Senate. They okayed the legislation early Wednesday. It would bar the statewide or regional closings of licensed firearm sellers, countering potential temporary orders under stay-at-home or public health directives. Sponsored by Republican Senate President Larry Olhoff, was fast-tracked through the chamber's legislative process and received lopsided bipartisan support for the passage. He said Wednesday's session at Governor Mike DeWine was respectful of the Second Amendment and did not attempt to force licensed firearm dealers to close, but the proposed law change would ensure future state and local officials do not follow suit. People are justifiably afraid of the many events that have taken place this year. They've seen law enforcement efforts to protect the law-abiding severely restrained. Legislative Affairs Director for Buckeye Firearms Association said in the committee testimony earlier this month. Special interest campaigns aimed at banning firearms and restricting access to them is also at an all-time high. We cannot assume that the current support for the Second Amendment that exists in the General Assembly will always be there. This is why elections have consequences. Everybody's so worried about what the presidential election is doing.
Yeah.
Senators, congressmen, statewide, federally matter as much, if not more sometimes. Other groups, including the National Brady Campaign, United Against Gun Violence said SB 360 would put public health at risk if gun stores could not be temporarily shuttered if warranted during state or national emergencies.
So
how is that possible?
How does violating the citizens' rights create an untenable situation? If you have how many 100 million legal gun owners,
It just
doesn't make sense.
How during a state of emergency is closing a gun store going to do anything other than if somebody needs something, they don't have access to it.
Right. Well, they don't want you to.
And this lady here, I'd like to interview her at some point in time. Her name's Toby Hoover. She's been around since
I've heard her.
2004. This lady come out of the jingweed somewhere, and she's been an anti-gun zealot. I think at some point in time she, I don't know, fell and hit her head or something. I don't know. But she says, we sincerely hope you will trust that gun dealers would only have to close if we were in an emergency situation. That doing so would make the rest of us safer. Toby Hoover, founder of the Ohio Coalition Against Gun Violence, said it in a submitted committee testimony. It's acceptable and advisable to allow the state and local communities to make these decisions. Please do not encourage fear.
And so you're going to violate the law, the preemption law.
Yeah.
Or that to keep the people who aren't breaking the law from defending themselves from the ones who are breaking the law.
I guess she doesn't quite understand that.
Yeah.
The firearm retailers, not only do they supply the general public, but we also supply a lot of things, and not just firearms and ammunition, but we also supply a lot of things to a ton of other agencies and groups and different things that need that stuff. I mean,
right.
The amount it's just not just going in and buying a gun. There's other stuff that goes along with that kind of stuff. I mean, there's I don't know, but gloves and boots and hats and medical supplies and ammunition and sights and repair parts and knives and blades and I mean
food.
Yeah, emergency food. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that goes on with that kind of stuff. So
I guess the question I'd like to ask her is, how much armed security do you have, and are you willing to let them go?
Well, certainly. That's the other thing is you're completely ignoring the fact that if there's a massive emergency, police and fire and emergency response, they're probably out dealing with the emergency. So if you have something that you need to deal with, you're unable to do that.
Yeah.
Or maybe unable to do that. That makes zero sense whatsoever.
Yeah, the cops might get there in a couple days.
Yeah, just mentally deranged is the word I was looking for earlier.
Yeah.
Words.
Yeah, nice.
Words. So I wish I could get rid of these Google ads. Ammoland. Ammunition smuggling to Mexico. 13,000 rounds caught at the border. I'll buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll buy it too.
We just got an email from one of our distributors. Hey, we got some of this left. My response, 2 words. I'll take it.
All of it.
All of it. Send it. We want it. On the 17th of September, Mexican authorities said they were checking vehicles coming into Mexico when a car with Arizona plates tried to avoid the checkpoint. The car crashed into another vehicle. The authorities say they found 13,000 rounds of ammunition and shrunk. I do not recommend running from the Mexican authorities. Their rules of engagement are different. They will shoot if they are able to do so.
You got that right.
Generally. They probably wouldn't even have found it if they just went through there. But 13,000 rounds is not really that much. No. I mean, 13 cases of ammo. Yeah. But here's the thing.
I wouldn't try to smuggle it into Mexico.
No, that's probably
just stupid.
It's probably 13,000 felonies is what it is.
Yeah.
And it says this sort of smuggling activity is reasonably common. There are a few instances from the U.S. side of the border. Interesting. CBP officers stopped a smuggling attempt of a shipment of 10,000. Somebody needs some English. 10,000 ammunition into Mexico.
Yeah.
Ammunition was seized by officers at the southbound inspection lanes into Mexico. Roughly another 8,000 rounds of 7.62 by 39 from February. And then border officers stopped a shipment of ammunition from entering Mexico on Wednesday in El Paso. U.S. Customs and Border Protection said in a news release. CBP officers conducting southbound inspections stopped a Honda Civic with 2 female occupants shortly after 3. Under a blanket in the rear seat, officers discovered 16 boxes of 7.62 millimeter cartridges. Each box contained 520 rounds of ammunition. Well, that's a little bit much for a Civic. I'll tell you, it's probably riding a little low.
Exactly.
Agent suspect Marco Antonio Peralta Vega, 35, was illegally exporting ammunition and tactical gear into Mexico. He already tracked 3 shipments of body armor plates, which are restricted. You didn't know you couldn't take body armor out of the States, did you? By the time agents finished their investigation, Peralta was accused of smuggling 37,200 rounds of ammunition, 2,649 high-capacity magazines, and 120 body armor plates and 3 handguns into Mexico. And that's from 16 to 18. Another article states 282,000 rounds of ammunition were caught at the border of Arizona being smuggled into Mexico. Apparently, we need to go down to the border and see if we can buy this stuff from these guys. 282,000 rounds. I'm going to get them $1 for it.
Yeah.
But 10,000 rounds at a time may seem like a lot. It isn't. They're small-time smugglers. Cartels have much more reliable sources consisting of Mexican government itself and worldwide sources from failed states and other governments. Attempting to choke off their weapon supply with border controls is a losing game, just like the drug deal. With billions of dollars to play with, the cartels could purchase their own manufacturing plants. Cartels have evolved into warlord-type governments. They offered better governance than the Mexican Central Authority. They would likely become states in their own right. Hamas comes to mind. Americans have a long history of smuggling guns and ammunition. Until the progressive era, it wasn't even particularly illegal, except to those who deemed enemies of the Republic. Mexico was never very good at either arming their forces or maintaining the weaponry they had. The fascinating essay on how not to arm a state says the major difference today is the cartels have lots of money and thus access to weapons from numerous sources. And this goes into a lot of mumbo jumbo that we don't really care about. Apparently the author just likes to hear himself talk. But yeah, apparently we need to go down to the border in Arizona and see if we can buy some of that stuff out of the evidence locker. Why don't they do that? I bet they got lots of it laying around.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they do.
I mean, sell it back to us. Sell it back into the legal supply chain. Put some money back into the border patrol. I would bet, depending upon the amount of ammunition they got stored, they might be able to pay for that dang wall just by selling 9 mil out of their warehouse.
Yeah,
especially at today's prices.
$650 a thousand, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Another one. We got this company called True Velocity, and I missed some comments. Yes, keep the back doors locked. Absolutely keep the back doors locked all the time. This True Velocity, they're making plastic case ammunition.
Yeah.
And they've actually got it figured out. An advanced manufacturing technology company specializing in small arms ammo is introducing new technology and proprietary solutions. The company's manufacturing capabilities can power customizable and highly portable cells, allowing for decentralized and automated ammunition production. They got 145 patents. So they say the cell production technology from True Velocity includes everything from casing manufacturing to loading of ammunition in a physically footprint that requires only 2,500 square feet, which is actually pretty small. They're looking at supplying ammo to the Army. And one of the things in here, they talk about the Lake City Arsenal 3,935 acre facility. Somewhere it says in here, True Velocity, founded in 2010, is based in U.S. manufacturing operations in Garland, Texas, just northeast of Dallas. More than 1 million rounds of True Velocity composite case cartridges will be delivered throughout 2020-2021 to U.S. Army as ammunition solutions are tested by the Next Generation Squad Weapons Program. Somewhere in here, what I was looking for. They gave, I thought, True Velocity's manufacturing is aimed at reducing inefficiencies in the ammunition supply chain, improving manufacturing safety, and has a capacity to produce as many as 600 million rounds a year from its operations currently. And I'm assuming this is currently. The cell production technology from True Velocity includes everything from casing manufacturing to loading ammunition. So
600 million would sure do a lot to relieve the shortage a little bit.
Certainly, and there's a lot of comments on this polymer cased ammo. Federal's been loading polymer cased bullets for a long time, and they actually work really well. The polymer casings for pistol have been around for a while, and they figured out that with the pressures in rifle cartridges and some of the high speed pistol cartridges, the pressure inside would just degrade the polymer to the point where it would just blow through the case, and it didn't work well. But this company's been working on it, and I would imagine, I don't know if it's when it first comes out whether it's going to be really cost efficient because of the new process and everything like that. But if you can then go to a polymer case with some type of alloy bullet that's cheaper than lead, that's polymer coated, you're looking at a pretty significant reduction in cost.
Yeah.
The only problem is, at that point in time, what do you do with all the damn plastic laying around a range? So there is an environmental impact to deal with that. We deal with plastic wads.
It would be interesting to see whether the projectile will be considered armor piercing.
Well, that's the thing. Right now, I think they're loading just kind of normal projectiles, but even if they went with a lead and polymer coating on that projectile, I think it would work well. Like I said, Federal's been doing it for a long time, but that's going to just really reduce the amount of copper and brass that's required to do that.
So they have oodles of plastic everywhere. They can make something that's recyclable,
right?
So I doubt if you could reload it, but that's okay,
right?
If it's cheap enough, who would?
Yeah, exactly. So last week we had a fire at AAM Metal Forming. So here's a thank you post from the Great Terrell Fire District. 12 hours, 5 ladder trucks, 7 engines, 15 tankers, and 120 personnel later, we were left in disbelief of what we had just witnessed. Our thoughts and prayers are those affected by this devastation. I can't find the words to describe how awestruck we are to the overwhelming support from this and neighboring communities. So many awesome businesses and people donated food, drinks, other stuff we needed. It really speaks volumes to the communities that we live in, something to be proud of. We would ask everyone reading this to support the business I've listed below. As they support our community, not only did the people and businesses below donate, but we received calls all day from people wishing to help. It was truly amazing. And it goes through Kishman's, Woods, McDonald's, Bell Stores, Hardee's, Dairy Queen, Subway, Carroll Family Healthcare, Giannino's, West End, Villa Restaurant, Cintas, Aaron Maley, Discount Drug Mart, Boy Scout Troop 155, Pizza Hut, Crossroads Pizza in Malvern, Amaris Eldringham. I also want to recognize and thank people who helped with the donations, getting them to the first responders. Danette Klotz, Donna Klein, Jen Klein, Amy Phillips, Savannah Klotz, Alexis Klotz, Ernie Hull, Amy Phillips, Hannah Hawes, Katie Schmucker, Stephanie Saltz, Brenda Klotz, Parker Klotz, and Stark FDRU. Last but not least, we would like to recognize and thank the departments that assisted us. Sandy Creek Joint Fire, Mohawk Valley Joint Fire, Magnolia Volunteer Fire, Carrollton Fire, Delroy Fire, Sebring Fire, Homeworth Fire, City of Alliance Fire, Canton Township Fire, Plain Township Fire and Rescue, North Canton Fire, Marathon Fire Department, Osnaburg Township Fire, East Sparta Fire Department, Louisville Fire Department, Augusta Fire Department, Nimishillen Township Fire Department, Washington Township Fire Department, Carroll County WNB Hazmat Team, Stark County Hazmat, Stark IMAC, Stark FDRU, the Fire Department Rehab Unit, EPA, and Stallion Oilfield Services. If they missed anybody,
there too. So, sit up at the top.
yeah, Minerva Fire. I said Minerva Fire. He said, if they missed anyone, we sincerely apologize and thank you. It's a very chaotic day, and thank everybody. As everybody knows, AA Metal Forming, commonly known around here as Coal 4, on 183 caught fire. Thankfully, everybody who was there got out. There was no injuries that I know of. If somebody knows of some injuries, please let me know. But, yeah, so we all thought, boy, that's the end of that manufacturing facility. It was burning the following day again. We don't know if it was controlled burn or what was going on, but it relit. There was some fire personnel there. And it looks like I heard somebody say that they're already working on rehabbing the facility and getting it back into production, putting people back to work. So good job, AAM. Great job, Great Trail Fire, and all of the fire departments that were there, keeping that fire contained, keeping everybody that was there safe, doing a good job. I don't think any fire personnel were hurt. So, yeah, great job on that aspect of it.
Community in general.
Yeah, great job on all of the people who donated stuff, volunteered, did anything to help. That was a massive fire. It was just bad news. No matter which way you slice it, was bad news. Everybody did a phenomenal job with that. So, great job. You see one of these folks or businesses out in public, then give them a high five or something. So, good job. Product of the week.
This kind of goes along with range time. We got these in today. The resetting steel target. These are made by Allen. Pretty good name in targets. Steel targets. Every one of these will reset. When you hit them, just swing around and up and down and whatever. These are only 22 caliber, but right now 22 caliber is about the only thing you can shoot affordably if you can find it.
Yeah.
So these are pretty good product, and we've had these in here before, and they hold up pretty well. They won't handle pistol calibers or anything like that, but they're pretty good product, and you can shoot them up quite a lot before they give up. And most of it's just a steel rod, and if you got technology enough to fix a steel rod once you shoot it, or shoot it in half, then you put it back together and use it again, or use the parts for something else. The other thing we have, this came in yesterday also. This is kind of a cool thing. 850 lumen long gun light with a pad, with a touch pad. Get it out of the box here. Haven't actually put a battery in it yet, but these nightsticks are pretty good quality. You got one on your pistol. I don't know if Nate's got one on his or not.
I don't know.
But the nightstick he's had on his pistol, he had it on there a couple of years. And it seemed to hold up real well. They're good quality. Of course, aluminum construction. Comes with the
pressure pad.
Yep.
Mounting
touch
switch.
pad. Mounting bracket to go on there. For the touch pad. Batteries.
Different base.
This is a sticky pad to mount the touch pad onto the base. And, like I say, this takes two CR123s.
Which come with it.
And, of course, the touch pad screws into the back right here. You have to take the back cover off to get the batteries in it. But seems to be a really good product. We've seen quite a few of these, and they hold up pretty well. About $100, which in this day and age is pretty good for a decent light.
Yeah, right.
And being 850 lumens, you probably won't have a problem seeing anything with it. absolutely not.
I like how they mount the touchpad. They give you
Yeah.
a over the rail slip-on section.
Yep.
And then you can slip your touchpad into that,
Right.
and then mount that whichever direction you would like.
Yeah.
So side or top or whatever.
Like I say, for $100, that's pretty cheap for a decent light.
I think we're going to do a video review on this here particular light.
So anyway, that's what we got for the product of the week. And
That part goes in somewhere.
yeah, that goes in the keep an eye on the YouTube channel. We'll probably have a video review on that, how it works, what we think of the light, et cetera, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Rookie numbers. So that's what we got for you guys. If you need to get in class, get to the website, get signed up before you run out. Every week, somebody comes in a couple days before class. Can I get in that class this weekend? And it's over full. So we physically only have so much room, and we can't make you stand up for 9 hours. So
it's just not possible.
It's just not
go any more people than we have been doing.
If we had a bigger building, we could put more people in. But
well, and we have to have more instructors and everything too, so that makes more confusion and blah blah blah.
Yeah. So
the individual instruction would suffer.
Don't wait. If you're wanting to get in on a class, don't wait on it. Get in on there, and we always have a good time. So we wouldn't do this if we didn't like doing it. So that's what we got for you guys. Stay safe for the weekend. Pistol Carnival tomorrow at the club, 1 to 4, right? Yep, should have mentioned that at the beginning. Always a riot of a time. And hopefully we'll see you there. And have a good night, guys. Next week, same time, hopefully. Thankfully, hopefully everything goes well enough. We can come back next week, and we'll see you then. Until then, stay safe and enjoy your weekend.